A man with suspected links to the Boston bombing suspects has been shot dead during questioning. For the latest, we're joined by our North America correspondent Lisa Miller. Lisa, what happened here?
Apparently at an apartment in Orlando, Florida, an FBI agent and a couple of state troopers were there to talk to this 27-year-old, Ibragim Tadashev. They had been there for quite some time, talking about his links to the Boston bomb suspects. He'd lived in Boston previously. Then we're told that when the conversation headed down a particular path, he turned violent. He pulled out a knife and lunged at the FBI agent who was apparently injured, and he was shot dead then. The officers say it was in self-defence. We're not entirely sure who shot him, but what we do know is that what was meant to be an FBI interview of someone they were just collecting information from turned suddenly very violent.
So it wasn't like a formal interview as such, but just them going to see this gentleman and asking some questions.
Well, what his friends say is that the FBI has been putting pressure on him had been putting pressure on him for some time. He's also Chechen. He'd lived in Boston. He was friends, we were told, with the older of the brothers, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, and that there's this other element of the Boston bombing, Paul, that people are still trying to understand or get information about, and that is this triple slaying in 2011.
Yes.
Which there was a belief perhaps that the Tsarnaev brothers had been involved in that murder, that they knew the people who were killed, and also a suggestion perhaps that this guy, this 27-year-old in Florida, may also have been involved in that triple slaying. So while the interview may have been informal as it was progressing, they were getting to a point, we're told, where they started discussing this triple slaying, and that's the point that it became violent.
And what else do we know about Ibragim Tadashev, aside from looking into his position in relation to this earlier incident? How else did he know the brothers?
Well, they were apparently in martial arts classes together, that, the connection with Tamerlan Tsarnaev was pretty firm, that he had lived in Boston previously. One of his friends who was interviewed outside the apartment in Orlando said that he had been wanting to leave the country for some time, but the FBI had been saying, no, don't leave, we still need to talk to you, and that was the kind of pressure that he'd been under from the FBI. And
do we know anything about the wider investigation as it's going on now, or is this just playing out as most investigations are, away from the press?
Away from the press, and also because the court process has begun, and as we get those days of hearings for the younger Tsarnaev brother, then we will start getting a bit more information out. But at the moment, Paul, certainly in America, everyone has been distracted by other disasters, like Oklahoma and other events. So slowly now is how I would suggest the investigation is going, and certainly away from the public eye.